guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I decided I would film a kind of what I do over the weekend, like the entire 2 days of the weekend, study with me. So as usual, I get up, get dressed, do all that kind of jazz, put on my fairy lights and sit down at my desk and write a to-do list. So I looked on Show My Homework to check what I had to do, and I'm just going to quickly pop in here to say that this video is in collaboration with Shannon. I love her videos so much, they're so motivating. She is also doing a weekend study with me and uploading it at the same time. If you like my videos, you'll like her videos. She does really motivating study with me's. Love them so much. Please go and subscribe to her because you guys are gonna love her video. The link will be in the description. I wrote a to-do list of everything I wanted to do over the next 2 days, and I had a few pieces of homework, and I also wanted to do some revision for upcoming tests because I have mocks in December, so I'm kind of getting a bit organised. So I decided also that I wanted to bake some cookies because on Saturday night over to Sunday I was going around to my friends for a party, so I don't actually get a lot done in this video, but all the same. I poured myself a cup of tea and I took this upstairs to drink while I was doing my work. And the first thing that I wanted to do was some flashcards for psychology. So I put on my fairy lights, and it was like, I lit a candle and it was 11 o'clock, so obviously I started quite late, which I do in both of the days, but I lit my candle and I lit my candles on my windowsill as well, and then I decided to start my flashcards for psychology. So we were doing research methods, which is kind of very scientific, so I just did very simple flashcards on it. Before I did my flashcards, however, I had to write my friend's birthday card because it was her birthday that day. So I did that, and then I got up my iPad and I put on some music on Spotify. I talked about the music that I use in my previous video if you guys want to know. And then I set a timer for half an hour because I wanted to do an hour in total, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it all in one chunk. So I just did the timer for half an hour and then I got started. So basically after half term we've got a big 90-minute test on psychology, and I want to start off like going in knowing what I'm doing, and I know I can do it if I work hard. So I decided to do some flashcards for all the different definitions and the types of experiments so that I can kind of go through them quite quickly. And because I've got quite a lot of time, I decided to make them aesthetically pleasing, and I can obviously use these for my mocks and my real exams and all my other mocks that I'm going to have. So I spent half an hour making those flashcards, and then after half an hour I was like fully prepared to do another half an hour. Like I got into it, I was in that point where you're like, oh, I can do another half an hour, I'm fine. So I set my timer again for a further half an hour and I continued doing the flashcards. So I think I did about 10 flashcards in this time period, but this was kind of me just starting off, like getting momentum going. The next on Monday I actually managed to do loads of my free period as well, so I'm doing pretty well on the flashcard front. Yeah, so this took me obviously an hour as I did it in 2 half-an-hour sessions, and I didn't take a break in between because I didn't want to disrupt it. Yeah. So once my timer went off for half an hour, I blew out my candle, and these were the flashcards which I made. I'm really happy with them. I might put them on my STUDYGRAM if I can be bothered to take photos of them. So I only did a few, to be fair, but they look nice, so it's fine. And because I'd done quite a lot of work that morning, I decided to have a little break. I think that's what I did. Yeah, I had a little break. But first of all, I filed the flashcards into my psychology folder, and I put them in my clip-in plastic wallet at the back of my psychology folder. And then I ticked my psychology flashcards off my to-do list by highlighting it, which is what I'm doing here. And I still had quite a lot to do this day, but hey, I had a little break and a rest for like ages, like an hour, but it's fine. So I actually set a timer for 15 minutes and said that I was gonna like have a break for 15 minutes, but I didn't. I had it for a lot longer. But all the same, once I had finished my break, I got some maths homework out. This was actually not too hard. Basically what it was like factorising polynomials and cubics. And if you don't do maths, you won't know what that means, but that's what I was doing. And I took a big break in the middle of it because I went down for lunch and I made some cookies, which was something else that I had to do that day. So I came back here after quite a long period of time, but I just did the last couple of questions, and these were quite repetitive, so once I got going on them I was like going, So I finished this like around 4 o'clock, I'm not too sure, but these were the cookies which I made and they were so good. If you guys want me to do a video on how I make cookies, I mean, you can request it because I will do it, but I don't know if it's very relevant to my channel. But anyway, I ticked my cookies off my to-do list. They were so good. And then I did the last bits of my maths homework before ticking that off as well. And then after that, I wasn't, because I was going to the party obviously, I wanted to do my makeup and I wanted to leave like an hour and a half for it, so I just packed everything away. And that wasn't even long enough because I got really stressed with my makeup. But all the same, I packed everything away and ticked stuff off my to-do list and closed my folder. And I didn't manage to do the psychology essay I planned to do, so I just set that aside for the next day, which was today. So the next day I got home about 12 and I lit a candle and I was like, I've got so much to do for Monday, which I didn't actually need to do because I had 2 frees in which I could do it, but I just wanted it all to be done. So I opened up my planner to-do list thing and I wrote in order of priority, so what I actually needed to do and what was just revision that I could just do another day, and wasn't set tasks. And then I put that to one side so that I could constantly see it. And the first thing which I said I had to do was like reading and annotating and answering questions on this history article. And I had a really good method for this. So basically the article's really long and I had questions to answer. So I wrote the questions on sticky notes and then I just annotated on the sticky notes. And then when I came to actually write down the proper answers to the questions, I could just copy off the sticky note. And I also did highlight and annotate the article, but I kind of annotated that in a lot of detail. Then I wrote the bare minimum points on the sticky notes and they were just right out in front of me. I'd recommend doing it, it was really good. So they were the sticky notes, and then that was the finished information sheet which I copied off the sticky notes, and that was the article all annotated and stuff. That took me about an hour and I highlighted that off my list, and then I had another really long break. I'm really not very good at sticking to schedules on breaks, which is why I don't tend to take them, because when I do, I literally waste the entire day. Like, I'm such a procrastinator. So I got back to work at 3:30, so I tidied up all my history stuff because I hadn't been able to be bothered to do it. I filed it into my day folder for the next few days, and then I got out my refill pad for psychology because I needed to do an essay, and I realised that I've never really done psychology work on this channel before. It's always seemed to be history and then the odd bit of maths, so I am doing some psychology for this video. So I obviously had an essay to write, so I was referring to my notes the whole time and a kind of plan that a teacher had given us, and I did find it quite hard, to be honest. Like, it wasn't a hard essay, but I've never actually wrote one before until this one, so we'll see how I do on that after October holidays, so that's a long time, but all the same. Yeah, so I wrote my essay and it took me a good half an hour, which isn't good because in an exam I'm going to need to write that in like 15 minutes or less, but you know, first one. So once I'd finished my essay, I hole punched it, no, I stapled it together so that my teacher loves me, no, I'm joking, and then I put it in my day folder with my other stuff so that I had it in school with me for when we were asked to give it in, and I closed my day folder and my refill pad and I put that into my folder as well. I mean, quite self-explanatory, and I ticked it off my to-do list, and then it was like 2:30 and I lit a candle and looked outside because it was like sunset and it was well cute, and I put my day folder back into my bookcase. But I got my actual psychology folder out, switched on my fairy lights, and then I realised that I wanted to do some more flashcards. So what was I going to do, an hour of flashcards? Yeah, an hour of flashcards. I did about 45 minutes in the end, but I added to the ones that I'd done the day before. So I think, yeah, I did 45 minutes and then I went for tea, which took like ages because I love food. But I listened to music like usual and I wrote out my flashcards. And I got through a few more topics, but I'm doing them in quite a lot of detail, so I might end up needing to do like flashcards in less detail in the future, but hey. Then it was about 7 o'clock when I finished on my flashcards, so I packed them all up and then I ticked it off my to-do list and went for a shower, because obviously this was a Sunday night, so next day I had school and I was not pleased about that whatsoever. But since I hadn't done my mechanics stuff, I moved that over to my free on Monday, as I actually didn't have anything else to do, so I was going to do psychology definitions then as well. So I turned off my desk fairy lights, put on my bed fairy lights, and very thankfully got into bed and fell straight to sleep because I was so tired. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please remember to go and watch Shannon's video. It will be linked down below. You guys will love it, you don't want to miss it, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye!